Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Selectmen's meeting. If everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no announcements tonight, additions or deletions to the agenda. We don't have anything there. We have no appointments, hearing delegation. Moving on, correspondence. In our packets, we have the Treasurer's Report, Representative Libby's newsletter, the 2020 Master Planning Committee Recreation Facilities Chapter, EcoMaine Recycling reports, and the confirmation paving agreement for Soucy Ln from Dayton Sand Gravel. Moving on, reports and staff initiative, Assessors Agent Discuss vote on abatements and supplemental taxes. Jerry.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman.
So we have 51, 52, 53, and 54. And all of these tonight are related to the computer issue.
Yes, they are.
So do we need to have anything more answered on those, or are we all set?
No, other than I guess I'm
Just a
little
quick question.
a little bit of concern with the Wood Enterprises one that's $500,000 in
Yeah, that's, I can answer that one, Dennis.
so, well, I guess the question I have is, you know, when this all started, you said it didn't have an impact on our net numbers.
Yep.
$500,000 in one probably has tweaks the meter a little bit more than, you know, the $20,000 or $30,000 ones here or there, but.
Well, that one there, retro, goes all the way back to the reval. And what happened is there was an adjustment made on that account back in the reval time. So it was noticed, but in this failure with the computer, it went right back, picked that change and brought it in. But to answer the bigger question, we've got about $50,000 worth of abatements as of tonight, roughly. The supplementals that you did the last time and the ones that are coming up in January will probably equal very, very close to 47,000 and maybe a little more. And so it's almost kind of come out as what I thought in the beginning is, the computer went along and erased 50 and then went along and we're going to be adding the ones that they fouled up the other way.
Okay.
So but we'll know that a lot more of that final number in January.
Okay.
So when with the computer glitches and when the computer overtaxes, do people come in, or do you find that, or does the taxpayer come in and draw your attention to it?
For the overtaxed, the ones that were over?
Yes.
Yeah, no, well, a lot of those were phone calls. As soon as they opened the envelope, they call. We had an idea of who the overs were, but most of them were the ones that either called in or came in and said there's something wrong.
But under, no one's going to come in, not many people are going to come in and say you're not taxing enough.
We might have had 5 or 6, maybe 7, some.
Okay, so
We can find those.
we're not seeing those here, though. Because we're seeing all the over.
Well, the
It's,
supplement
zeros.
that we signed a couple weeks ago,
Okay.
those were all zeros, and
Yeah.
we have some tonight that are the
Right.
opposite end of
Okay,
this.
okay. You're just much more aware of the.
Yeah.
No, we did a search to, early on, try to determine who we missed and who overdid. And the overdids came in pretty strong.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Gordon.
How close are we to finalizing this? Are we going to continue?
The end,
Yeah, how many more of these overages or supplements?
there's one other group that will be coming out in the next month, which will, I think, be the end. There might be about less than 25, maybe 30-ish, and I think that's it. And at the same time, we had occasional look at the software with Dave to see what corrective measures we could take. And he and I kind of agreed there isn't anything we can do wholesale to go into the system and repair it. What we decided is to use the abatements and the supplementals that we're actually doing one-on-one, making that the repair, and then pretty much those numbers will come right back up. And the software will be corrected the way we want to see it corrected. The old-fashioned way, one at a time.
Gary?
I had a question, Jerry. That 25 to 30, is that abatements and supplementals all thrown in?
You mean next time around?
25 to 30 that still need some changing?
Yes.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Is there a motion to approve the abatements as recommended?
Motion to approve is recommended.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Next, discuss vote on supplemental taxes.
Yeah, the certificate should be in front of you, Madam Chairman. The supplemental amount, you had approved one about a month ago so we could send those zero tax bills. Once we run the tax bills through the computer, it picked up those that had made prepayments. And the prepayment total kind of threw off the actual supplemental you approved. This one will zero in on the exact dollar amount that was billed. And so if the board would approve to sign that supplemental, the difference wasn't a heck of a lot, but we should match the amount that was printed and is in the computer. I think it's what,
$36,437.88. So is there a motion to sign the supplemental tax warrant?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay,
Yeah, with the signed copy.
Yep. anything else?
The Mills denial letter.
Okay,
There was a letter sent to the Stephen Mills dated November 13, indicating to him that we reviewed the properties he mentioned in the with his abatement appeal, and after review there was no persuasive evidence to show that he was not being fairly assessed, basically. And I indicated to him that the board would be hearing this tonight and looking for a decision to deny the abatement.
okay. Is there a motion from the board?
I guess
I would.
Why do we have a lack of addresses?
I'm sorry?
What's the issue with the lack of addresses? Is it,
I could not tell from the, he sent little photos cut out from a newspaper, and there's no addresses on the those properties they wanted.
oh, okay, it had nothing to do with the map then?
No.
Oh, okay.
So is there a motion on the floor?
I move to go along with the with Jerry's recommendation
Okay. Is there a
of
second?
denial.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. And then I see Mr. Babb is here, so where are we?
Mr. Babb, I have talked to him on the phone, and I indicated to him that I would provide the board with this colored value study, if you will. I'll go over it quickly. He understands it, I believe. We did discuss it a little bit on the phone a week or so ago. The green line through the Babb property is an indicator that he's pretty much in the middle. The red line that you will see between 3 and 4 is the middle. And therefore, I attempted to come up with what I would call a median value. Median value means exactly what that is. It's the middle. The calculations for that are down below under that blue stripe. And what I was attempting to do there is to take the values that are the 6 values at the top, I come up with the median value, which is shown as 190-foot frontage, again a median. The median value for the front foot is 1237. That produced a value of 235,000. If we were going to do a weighted average, which is the purple line down below, which is the taking of all of the values in the 6 subjects above, you would see there that we used 155-foot frontage. We used $1,231 a front foot, and that came up with 190,800, slightly less. My recommendation is indicates that the median value seems to indicate that the property is not, in my estimation, being overvalued. Mr. Babb will indicate some other issues that, and I'll let him speak for himself, that may indicate otherwise, but that's pretty much what I've come up with. So I've come up with 2 values. One is a median value, one's a weighted average. And they're both done with the idea that we use the material that was presented to us and only stuck with the 6 properties that we had when the abatement was given to us to review. And with that, I give the floor to Mr. Babb.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If it's okay.
Yep.
I figured out, it took me a while to figure out the math of this. The only thing, I understand the
Could
median.
you, come up, stand at the podium, please?
I'm sorry. I figured out the median value. The only problem that I had with this, when I looked at it, was that the waterfront was wrong. On number 6 is actually 87 feet of waterfront, not 200, which changes the median value from his math. I broke his math down to basically to figure out how he figured it out, which I did, which gave me a completely different set of numbers. Because basically, where he has his weighted calculations, it should be 833 divided by 138 was the median waterfront. Equals 138 feet, not 155, which changes the total value, dividable value, at 8409 equaling $1,401 a foot, which gives you a total of, I think it's $1,005,000, which the median value would be $167,000, which is more than what I thought it should be, but doing his math his way is what it should be. Breaking it down in his breakdown. You know, taking aside what I had before, which kind of brings us back to where we were before. You know, the math that he has is incorrect, which gives you an improper number.
So the number 6 property is supposed to, that's an 87-foot.
That's 87 feet. My property is 180. Number 5 is actually 176. The other ones are all correct. But if you do that, and you can't, you know, and when I first discussed it with him, he said that he dropped the bottom one off because the math didn't make sense with the valuation that he was doing, but he added it in at the bottom. Now I understand trying to figure out, it took me a long time to figure out this, you know, the median, the value, because I don't do this every day, but you have to use a fixed set of numbers, probably the correct set, not a, you know, the improper set of numbers. Breaking that all down, it puts it at 167,000 is what my value would land at. Doing the math his way, as opposed to doing it the way that I had done it originally, based off of waterfront, lot size.
So, what you're hanging your calculation on, Dan, is that Pellegrino's lot is only 87 feet and not 200?
Right, because it changes the median value, because if you factor that in, if you factored in trying to find the center line of the valuation for those lots, and the only reason I did them is because we're all on the same road, and you know, just trying to figure out the heads and the tails of
when
how
you look at the tax map,
Uh-huh.
it would suggest that there's no way that it can only be 87 feet.
It is. Yeah. That's what it says on the...
So the tax map is completely...
No, the Pellegrino's is on the side of Bryant, is next to Bryant, correct?
So there's 3 separate pieces
24 and 25, I think, are, I don't have it in front of me. Do you have a picture?
24, 25,
There's one lot.
yeah, but,
Pellegrino lot is throws you a curve. When you
It's
have
23.
87,
right, and it's got, does it have 3, 4 sections
No.
to it, or is it just
No,
that one
22
slice?
has, 22 goes all the way over to 23.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, it's when I did this the first time I had it, it actually breaks it down and tells you what it is.
Okay, Jerry, why is it different values for the
You kill your watch.
frontage?
I think your watch
Sorry?
is beeping.
Why is it different values for the frontage per front, per foot from the frontage here?
You're talking on the map now?
Yeah, well, you got,
even in your calculations.
Well, the map, if you look at lot 23, if I assume there's a Pellegrino lot, if you look across the back, you're gonna come up with a lot more than 87. I got 300 feet. And I'm not sure if the 87 is wrongly put in there or what.
But you're doing on the front. It's only 87. I think it's 87 is what I found.
Yeah, but this is the old tax map, the way that these were struck originally.
Yeah.
This was many, many more lots than what this turned out to be, right? And lots have been bought, and they're in common and all of that stuff. So the question I guess I would have is that if there are 4 pieces, and you're right, if you look at the back, it would certainly show that it's different than 87 feet, but I guess the question is that somewhere here there's got to be a definition of what all those lots were originally in the code office or somewhere in the planning office, right?
No, they rely pretty much on the tax map, only because, like you say, when you go all the way back on the pond to today forward, a lot of these pieces were added together, divided over.
Yeah, my only hiccup with all of this is that really, you know, if you were taxing them just based on water frontage, okay, there might be some rationale to whatever the numbers are. The rationale of coming up with a medium income is fine, but these lots are all different sizes, depth, right?
Right.
In acreage. I mean, 20 is 0.77 acres, 21 is 1.09, 22 appears to have a 50-foot right-of-way taken out of it. You know what I mean? So somewhere along the line, there's got to be, you know, is there in fact some other contributing factor to the value of the property other than just waterfront?
I assume the buildings also, right?
No.
No,
we
this
don't
is
own
just
the
land.
Just
Oh,
own
just land.
This is all he's looking at. Okay.
I think the answer to that would be that when we had the revaluation, there's one factor that was important, other than the time that we decided it was going to be a $1,200 front foot across everyone, or $1,500, depending on the. After that, the only common element in this is the actual frontage. Because when people buy and sell, they will discuss how much frontage they have. The depth in this program of the software we use has a factor that takes care of what they call, it's a depth factor, and then we have one that takes care of the front that's called the excess frontage factor. These two are not very reliable to use as a measuring stick. The frontage is the only measuring stick that you can actually hang your hat on, and the front foot dollar. After that, I think it just, all of what you said then is a diminished value, I guess.
So I think if there's one thing that we seem to have some consensus on, we might not agree with the final number, but is that to derive a medium number, whatever, I mean, the math works, it's just got to have the right numbers put into the math, right? So I guess my only open question here now is, how wide is the Pellegrino lot?
But even if we have that,
Yeah.
if you took the Pellegrino lot out, in the study here, under the yellow one, sales ratio study in the middle, the bad property is center anyway when you consider its sale price at the time and its valuation presently. It comes up to be 105%. It's one of those properties that's kind of picture perfect to be in the middle of this group, regardless of what the group is. It's meant to be in the middle.
The only question I had to that was that if you did an assessment in 2006, wouldn't it have aligned all these properties? I mean, none of these properties have been sold since 2006. Taking mine completely out of the equation, it would have balanced all these other waterfront lots out, because you say it's a simple mathematical calculation, but it's a variable mathematical calculation,
Yep.
which doesn't make sense to me. Either it is or it isn't. How can we have it's like it's on a sliding scale. To what, are we valuing it off sale price? If so, 2006 reevaluation would have changed all of these.
Yeah, well, the revaluation did. But to your question, we do now for the state, in order to do the state valuation, we use a sales ratio study. We still have to come up with the top that we throw away, the bottom that we throw away. We ended up with the center.
On sales.
On sales.
Mm-hmm.
And sales are today's sales. And the valuation happens to be 2008 value. So we're still doing that. It's the only way, I think, to be able to compare what it is we're looking at. And if you look at this study we're coming up with, I don't see anybody being overvalued. And I don't see any information that tells us that they are overvalued. Well, we can discuss the frontage as a comparison, but when after all is said and done, this property's in the middle and is where it ought to be. And therefore, I don't believe it's been overvalued. Some of the other properties have problems, but I don't think this subject property is overvalued. That's my opinion.
John?
Don't you say that there's a 15% margin of error there? Is that the correct percentage that you had mentioned?
I think when we do the other studies,
Yeah.
there's about a 15 to 20
So,
top and bottom.
so when I'm looking at these, I mean, you're doing means and medians.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're doing that with something that's absolutely the same, but these are all different. And if I see something that jumps out at me that's unfair, then we need to process it mathematically in whatever way. But unless it jumps out, then you're going to have to do the same thing with every single lot, and it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, this computer system, isn't it? It's mathematical, correct? So it's a data entry thing.
Right, but part of it still is there's some variability,
Right.
right? There's, as Jerry said, there's a frontage of a lot. Let's just get away from the lake for a minute.
Correct. Yeah.
A buildable lot has a certain frontage. Anything beyond that happens beyond on the road, we'll say that frontage gets valued at a different rate than the frontage of the home of the improved lot.
Correct.
So all of those go into those factors go into that. So it is, even though the math is all calculated mechanically, right?
Correct.
There's some variability that the assessor has, or the group that we had to do the assessing that gets put into it.
Now, the test of that, in the revaluation year, we had tons of sales. We had cataloged 3 years' worth of sales, and we used those as checking points. In other words, even though we had the computer do these calculations, and some of these figures are entered into there by us, the sales were the ones that proved whether the assessments made sense or not.
Correct.
We had a whole bunch of them. So these sales in 2008 didn't make sense. Otherwise, people would come in and say, look, I paid X for the property and you got me for Y. And we did some of that, but it went over pretty well as far as the overall project. Today, we're still using 2008 as the value that we need to compare with. And what you have is you've got some outliers that say we got some that are not exactly perfectly assessed, and we got some that are close. But I don't think we can go and figure out, looking back, if we've done every single one of them a certain way.
But if you take it a step further, because I did a few other ones on the lot, just random, and some of them are $2,600 a running foot for waterfront, and the answer I got was some of them bigger lots, which supposedly isn't a factor. Some are $1,700. There was a couple that was $650. Now, I I mean, isn't it costing the town money, tax money? I mean, regardless if mine's out of whack on the wrong end or it's correct and the others need to be adjusted the other way. I mean, how much is this costing the town? I mean, where does this average, we're playing laws of average with math, but we have no baseline, no end line. So I can't figure out the math of it. I mean, every time we discuss it, it turns into a different variable. So we have this variable today, but if that doesn't look good, we're gonna have this variable tomorrow. And then we're gonna change it, now we're going off median value, home sale prices. So what is it? Is it lot front size? Is it waterfront? Is it, I mean, what's the assessment baseline? That's what my question was.
Well, I think yes to all of what you said, right? I think you have to target a value that says the waterfront property per foot this is a number that is traditionally used, we'll say.
Correct.
But if you can't validate that through sales,
Right.
then you're wrong, all right?
Correct.
So all of that has to be balanced through.
Right.
I mean, for years, we had undeveloped land in this community that was significantly off from the sales data,
Right.
all right? But there was a plug that the town said is we're not gonna overvalue undeveloped land because the minute you start valuing it up to what people can get for it today, people
Right.
sell it, right? So, I mean, there's some other factors that build into that. But
Right.
I think what you're saying is all of which is true. Market comes into the play here because we have to validate what we've done with assessments with market validation. The other piece of it is there's specific criteria that we have plugged into, whether it's backland or whether it's home developed lots or whether it's lakefront property. I guess my only concern here is that regardless of the length of these properties, the number should be somewhat consistent with lakefront numbers.
Right.
And it's not. It goes from $800 to
Yeah,
$1,800.
that bothers me, and there's a $900 difference here in lakefront values. I mean, if these are all in a row here, I assume the frontage is similar. Why is there such a difference?
Somebody doesn't have a white sand beach and somebody else has rocks.
I don't know.
Gary went and pulled the larger lots, or the larger maps, and it does appear on this spreadsheet that the Pellegrino property is incorrect, that it does look like it's an 87-foot property as opposed to 200 feet. So I think we've got something that we need to look at here.
But on the tax account number, I think it shows right. If you look at the account
It's
tax,
throw the math.
yeah.
Question for you, Jerry. On the maps, we're supposed to go, in lots like these, we ignore the dashed lines and we go solid line to solid line for that parcel, correct?
Yes, usually, yes.
Okay, and so I think that number 6 needs to be revisited, according to the big map.
Now, each of these properties, I mean, you're gonna have, some of them are gonna be rock bottoms, some may be sand, some may be mud and weed. Is there any difference made in valuation between the actual waterfront?
Not in the revaluation. The revaluation, we estimated the value of the frontage based on sales.
So there's some, this isn't all mathematical. I mean, some of this, when you're doing a valuation, you see one person here with 100 feet of waterfront, it's beautiful sand, and this person over here has got a half rocks and mud. In making the difference, and setting the difference in there, that's a guess, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you got to remember a revaluation is not exactly that. An appraiser who you'll pay $300, $400, $500 will go out and do that one appraisal. He will pay that close attention to that particular property. But in the revaluation, you're going to rely on averages, what sales are in the area. You'll probably average out. You have to average. You take the known, and for the unknown, you have to use an average of some sort, and that's how you get from one point.
And if you did a median of all waterfronts, and you don't throw in those other dimensions in there, like on some of them, if you just do it on width and you don't do it on surface, or anything else that has to do with that, then the median really is, it's really not very precise. And
It's
I
an
guess
average.
what I'm saying here, when I look at this and I say, does anything jump out at me as being unfair? Otherwise, I don't know all the variables that go into the valuation. So if something comes out and says, seems to be very unfair, why? I don't see that, but.
Well, I don't either. I can't see the unfair only because we're dealing with a property that happens to be in the middle. Forget the median for a second. You got six, it'd be like having 6 timepieces that you have laying in front of you. And they all have a different time. You could line them up and say, this one's slow, this one's not as slow, and you'd end up with a middle. Pretty much what I did here is I ended up with a middle. The middle is the bad property is not being abused in the valuation sense. And it's not under, it's in the middle with some space, regardless of the others.
Not taking into account the improper math.
Well, forgetting the math for a second, just the fact that the sales ratio part of this says that this property happens to be somewhere in the middle, regardless of the neighbors who are off.
No.
We can't adjust one property because one of the neighbors happens to be off the other way.
But when I had called them and asked them for what the study was when they did the revaluation, which when the reevaluation was done, it was exactly in line with the closest property to my size, within like $10,000. So, taking that into account, if we're doing that study, how come it threw it out of whack?
Yeah,
You know?
you're using a 2006 reval that you got to remember, and Dennis will remember that we weren't paying that much attention to separate assessments and sale prices in those days. We were doing the ratio thing.
But it was in line then, and now it's not. But there's a variable that nobody knows what that exact variable is to cause it to be out of line. That's my question. I don't disagree that it's probably. I mean, is it out of whack from this? Yes. From what I came up with, yes. Is it where it's supposed to be? Who knows? Are the other ones where they're supposed to be? Doesn't seem it. Something's out of line. Either mine's right, others are out of line. But what are we basing this off? For me, it's a fairness thing. If you're going to do it on an even keel. Don't do it on a, well, we have this variable, we're going to change this ratio, we're going to do this one, we're going to pull this one out. And so it becomes subjective at that point, which takes out the objectiveness of doing revaluation, period. When you have a subjective tax, that's an unfair tax across the board. And the way it seems like this is done, it's done on a variable level. And that makes it subjective. I mean, I don't know how to write tax code. I don't know. I can look at the basic math of what I'm explaining, and that's what I see.
So Jerry, I think, first of all, we've got to go back and correct these, the properties, and fix any problems with math if that's. The other thing I'm wondering is maybe it's time for us to kind of take a site walk down there so we know exactly what we're talking about when we're discussing these properties. I don't know how anybody else feels about that. But I think, I don't know, I mean myself, every time this comes before us, I have more questions than I had before. And I kind of get the feeling that there's probably a lot of that going on with the board and with Mr. Babb as well. So I think we need to fix the math on this, fix the values.
Shoreline froze.
Yeah, we'll be soon.
I mean, does this raise a bigger question, Jerry, on a lot of other properties in town that need to be looked at? And I think it does. You know, I don't know how you go about addressing it, but
Well,
I'm not in favor of hiring someone to go around.
everything was looked at, or
I
at
know
least,
it was,
you
but-
know, in 2007, but is that gonna clean everything up? Absolutely not. I mean, if you go back and say, we're gonna physically go out and touch every piece of property in the town, you're not gonna do a reassessment for 50 grand.
No, and in today's market, I'm not sure what you're going to come up with.
And Jerry's right, before that, we were making adjustments based on sales ratios. If the sales ratio with the state valuation got too far out of sync, we took a percentage across the board and raised those kind of things up. The reval, which was done, all the work was done in 2007, right? 6 and 7, was done based on, hey, this is what the market is today, whatever adjustments had to be done, and I mean, it was 2 years before, I think, Tammy Jo and I were on the board before it ever got voted to accept the new assessment and let's move on, right? Because it kept kind of bouncing around and nobody wanted to make that decision, but.
Well, conversely though, I mean, based on sales price, I mean,
Based on sales price, he's in the market.
okay, but I mean, I think the sales price and reevaluation, it was at the high.
Right, and we all agree that everything was at the high.
Yeah,
Today it isn't,
okay,
right?
if you undervalued, you can jump it up 10-20%, you're saying. Well, if we're overvalued, we can drop it down 10 or 20%.
Right, but you're gonna drop everybody's down.
Yes.
And the tax rate's going up.
Well, you
So
know,
the net is 0.
I know, but I think in people's minds, they feel that, hey, at least.
Fairness on the value of the property.
Right.
And then when the market goes back the other way,
Yeah,
it's a knee-jerk reaction,
it is,
basically.
but,
So,
I think on the Pellegrino one, I'll probably go back and I'll look at the deed. I'm not sure I can trust the tax maps.
yeah.
Tax maps are not the
It's
most friendly.
confusing because
I know.
of the solid, you're looking at the lines and it's like, is that a solid line or is there a couple of breaks in it?
And
So
then the
it's-
87 doesn't seem to fit.
All of those
Yeah.
properties and developments, you look at Johnson Park and you look at the Milne's over, all of those were sketched up years ago and said, this is what we're gonna go do, right? None of them, well, we still have paper streets up on the East Shore, so, I mean,
And they're not where they're supposed to be, a
right,
lot of them.
so,
get that squared up before it comes before us again, maybe sit down with Gary so that, we're kind of on the same page with where everything sits and have another conversation with Dan. Okay?
Very good.
All right, thank
Thank you.
you.
stay tuned, Dan.
See you guys in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, Selectmen's reports. Gordon?
I'm all set, thank you.
John? David?
I think at some point, either maybe in the budget thing or whatever, but we need to discuss the selectmen's pay for the change of, meetings and stuff
Want
like
to
that.
go up?
Yeah, I'd like to go up 10,000. But I think in all fairness, that needs to be discussed. Also, the Economic Development Committee, I understand there's been problems getting people there or whatever, but I think we should meet and push on whether people are there or not.
Yeah, I think we're tentatively scheduled for second Wednesday in December, and I think we do have another candidate of somebody going on there, so if we just had one more, I think then if somebody doesn't show up, but I think you're right, we need to pull the trigger and have a meeting and go from there.
Dennis?
Nothing really,
Okay.
just EcoMaine's got a new website, if anybody's interested in the websites.
The other thing I have to report on is the 12-town group was unable to get together all of the candidates for a January candidates night on the gubernatorial election. So moving forward with a February date, and it's looking fairly positive that that's going to be a doable date. So once John has the confirmation from the 3 major candidates, then we'll start looking at a venue, and we are going to look at having that here in Waterboro, probably checking with Matt and seeing if we can do it over at the fire station, because it's also set up for the video, so we could also broadcast it out. So stay tuned on that. Town Administrator's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Guess I would report that renovations to South Station are essentially complete. The last window went in today. There might be a few other cleanup, fix-up details to do, but the roof is all on, ready for winter. Just to let the public know, we are closed Thursday and Friday of this week, and during Christmas week, the only time that Town Hall will be open during Christmas week will be Thursday and Friday, the way the schedule and the holiday works. Want to let people know that Hamilton Road will be closed probably all next week, hopefully not more. It should take about a week to replace that culvert. The last of the wood has been harvested on the town lot out behind the Public Works garage. We've received just under $18,000 so far in payments. And I think there's one, maybe 2 truckloads of wood left on the property out there to haul away. We're having a final inspection on the water line installation up to the middle school. Economic Development Committee department folks are coming down from Augusta to do the final checkoff on that, and everybody will get paid and the project will be closed out. I attended the athletic renovations public meeting last Wednesday, about 100 people there, which was great to see. Everybody was pretty enthusiastic. The numbers were a real wish list to the tune of over $6 million. And 2.7 of that would be in a new track and a new artificial turf field. This ad hoc committee that Mike DeAngelis is on is going to report to the school board their findings, their priorities, I guess, and then the school board takes it from there in the years to come in terms of whether or not that work is put into the budget. And I think we should think about, we not only have to think about a new cruiser for our contract deputy, but whether or not we want to use that old car when it's retired for staff travel to meetings from here or fire department runarounds, picking up parts, picking up people, etc. We could talk to Sean at that time. I think it's been a pretty good performing vehicle. It's been well maintained, so it might still have some life in it in terms of that. I was disappointed today to learn that the auditor thought that he could start to have a draft to us by December 17th, and I've been operating under the understanding that there was going to be a completed document by the end of November. So I'll be in touch with him to talk about that more. And I guess the other question is, we could talk about the transfer station. I have some thoughts about whether it should be open this Friday, but I thought all 6 of us should chat about that. So you can do that at your convenience.
Couple of questions. On the fire station, does that come in within the money that was raised?
Yes. We, additional $3,000 we had to spend because of all that rot. I don't know if you got to see it, but when we took that sheathing off, it was awful.
So we raised what, 25 or 30,000?
It was either 30 or 35, and I think we're still under 30.
Okay. Town woodlots. If I'm not mistaken, I thought a figure of $65,000 was thrown around.
I think that was for the value of the wood, not what was coming to us. I remember that 65 too, but I think when he said it, it wasn't qualified as to what that $65,000 was.
How about we just pull that? I tried to have Christina look for the hard copy. I know I've got one home, but we ought to revisit that. I guess I'm with David. I was under the impression that there was a much bigger number coming to us.
I can, when we're done at slack time, I'll get the contract right on my desk. So yeah.
I mean,
So it's not that, it's not that urgent, but we ought to really revisit. And
I guess I can't believe that 100 acres or whatever we had down there, $17,000 come out of it. That is.
You're right in that number. I remember hearing it. The question is, what was the number?
Yep.
That's received so far. Are we expecting more though?
Not a lot more. I mean, I think probably 1 or 2 more checks.
Not like three times. Isn't
Right.
it?
With only 1 or 2 truckloads left, it's not.
Must be real good stuff left there.
Whatever they hauled out the last week or 10 days, we've not been paid for yet.
What's the board want to do about the transfer station? I know in the past the transfer station has been open on Friday. It hasn't been closed in line with the town hall, and that's the
But my feeling is if the other departments are shut down, then the transfer station should be also, but that has never been followed through on.
That's what the personnel policy says. And absent some other decision, that's my recommendation, is you close it.
Yeah, and there's 2 days to recover from.
You're open Saturday.
Yeah. And when you get to Christmas, it's a moot point anyway, because they're going to be closed Christmas Day and they're going to be closed New Year's Day, which are Wednesdays, right? And then they're going to be open the Friday, Saturday, Sunday on those. So
Yep.
I would agree that. Yes, my feelings are is close it.
Mr. Chair, entertain a motion.
Sure.
I'd make a motion that we follow the provisions of the personnel policy and transfer station be closed on Friday.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor of closing transfer station on Friday?
Thank you very much.
I have one question for Gary, or a comment, I guess, is number 7.
Yep.
I think we had a discussion with Major and everybody else involved in contract deputies, and I think it's time we get out of the business of owning a cruiser. And I think I sent everybody a note to that effect, but so I would ask that any negotiations you have with the sheriff include in their contract price to us whatever they need for equipment. I don't see the town's benefit of us having a cruiser. And I know why Mo did that originally, was that originally these were sunset positions, right? They were funded, and if we voted not to fund it, then he was stuck with a cruiser. That's, I guess, the risk of his program. But I don't see the value of us owning a cruiser. Doesn't make sense to me.
Dennis, after you sent that concern out, I called the sheriff, and he said he doesn't care. He's happy to, and he does it both ways in the community. So next contract, we can put that cruiser in the contract. So, not a problem in his mind.
We'll take care of that. Anything else?
Not for me, thank you.
Okay. Moving on, new business, discuss vote to approve Massapequa Lions Club state games of chance. Beano and sealed tickets. In our packets, we have the application along with the inspections by the fire department and by the code enforcement officer, indicating there are no problems. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the license? Next, discuss vote to approve the Fraternal Order of Eagles State Games of Chance. This is going to be for cards, daily pool, and sealed tickets. They just had a license application over the summer, and the CEO and fire department did a inspection back then on those, so we didn't have another one done this time. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Didn't we just have something to do with their licensing just a
Liquor.
very short time ago?
Liquor license.
But
It was in the
But they-
summer.
There was a games of chance
I thought
thing
there was
that
a
they
game
wanted to do
license
for a
because
year.
they wanted to be able to do it for the entire year or something like that.
It was a
And
year ago.
yeah.
Was it a year ago?
It was a year ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a year.
time flies, good. When you're
Wow,
having fun.
Because I know the one thing, the issue that we had with them was their timeliness, and so I'm just wondering if they're putting it in now so that we don't get it December 25th.
They wanted a 3-year blanket letter of
Yeah,
approval.
right.
And you, the board, would only give them a 1 year.
Right. Okay.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving? Next is discuss vote to approve renewal of state malt, the liquor license for Woody's Sports Grill. In our packets, we had the inspections from the fire department and the CEO, and then Gary did get some information today from the CEO that there is one exit sign that is not working still. So his license does expire at the end of the month. If we wanted to approve it on the condition that he fixed that one sign. That was what the CEO's suggestion was.
I will move that we approve this on the completion of the CEO's one item.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I thought we just got a memo from the chief that said everything has been fixed. And now
That was my
We did.
question to Gary, too.
I'm gonna take that up, the gentleman that did the inspection.
Okay, so all those in favor of approving the liquor license based on the condition that the one light is corrected? Okay, that's all set. Next, discuss vote on committee appointment. We had Troy Chenard in earlier tonight for a meeting, and he's applied for the Public Safety Committee. What's the pleasure of the board?
I move that we accept the application.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Next is discuss vote on December meeting schedule. So we're scheduled to meet on the 10th, and then the next meeting would be the 24th. However, I don't think we want to meet on Christmas Eve. The town charter does say that we have to meet twice a month, so we do have to have 2 meetings in the month of December. So if we wanted to follow Tuesday nights, we could do the 10th is our regular meeting, and then add either the 3rd or the 17th. I would suggest the 17th, as we won't be meeting on the 24th or the 31st. If we did the 3rd and the 10th, we'd go 4 weeks without a meeting. If we did the 17th, it would be 3 weeks.
Sounds logical to me.
So is the 17th, 10th and 17th all right with everybody?
Be a short meeting
So
on the 17th?
So is there a,
So moved.
thank you, David.
Second.
All those in favor?
I think WAB needs to be notified, they want
Yeah,
that
they want you to do
Christmas.
the lights.
Yeah.
So Christina, if you could.
We'll do the appropriate posting of the public meeting.
Okay. Next is discuss a vote on employee holiday dinner. For the past 3 or 4 years, we've done a spaghetti dinner for staff and committee members, hosted by the Selectmen. Is that something that we're interested in doing again this year? And if so, what are we looking at for a date?
Joanne, is that too late?
John is usually the one that kind of heads this up.
Actually, Christina heads it up. I just cook.
When are you going to the mountain? Are you going or not?
I'm going up the mountain on the 20th, so I'm good for the week, either one of the 2
Always
weeks
do it
before.
Friday the 13th, right?
That's a good night.
Friday the 13th?
I won't be
So
here
it's been
for that.
lucky
No.
for me.
What do you mean?
My son's coming home, I'm off.
Oh. Well, Christine's not gonna be here on the 13th, so we might wanna look at
Seventh?
doing it a different day then.
Wednesday the 11th.
I think the 6th just is too quick coming up. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be next Friday night, so I think the 13th is, if we're gonna do it, probably,
How about
The better
Wednesday,
date.
Wednesday the 11th? Everybody knows Wednesday's Prince Spaghetti.
Wednesday
Prince
the
Spaghetti
11th,
Day.
we have the economic
Oh, I
development.
can
Yep.
do that, okay.
oh, that might be a way to get them there, Dennis.
Yeah.
Feed them a spaghetti dinner. So, if we did December 13th, John, could you make the arrangements like you usually do?
Sure.
Organize the food and
You're
stuff?
not gonna
Sure.
be-
I'll help.
Gary will take my
Yeah, I
place.
can take
Sounds
Christine's
good.
place.
Alright, and,
Don't know what I'm saying yes to, but
oh, it's,
Just go buy a bunch of those
Are you
little
going to be around the day
made in
before?
China
Or?
trinkets.
I'm off the day before, I'll be here on the 11th,
And what time are we
Yeah.
doing that?
but I'll have.
But,
everything
I mean,
ready.
we usually do it
I'll have it all
five.
put
You have it
together.
all lined up.
So we'll
In the
do,
past, we've done 5 to 7, right?
yep. Alright, so I'd entertain a motion to have the holiday and committee staff spaghetti dinner on December 13th from 5 to 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor? Alright,
fire station.
that's fire station, so we need to check with Matt on that too. Make sure. Discuss vote on board and committee reporting schedule. Gary and I kind of bantered this about a little bit. With us meeting every other week, if we have one committee that can't make it, it's really kind of throwing the schedule all out of whack. So one of the things, kind of what I was thinking was, instead of having a committee coming in and reporting at our selectmen's meeting, somewhat doing a throwback to the committee reports that we had, and tie them in with our budget review. So instead of having committees come in every week, when we do our quarterly budget meeting, have the committees come in and report then. All of our committees do have a selectmen's liaison, so if something important comes up to a committee in between the quarterly meetings, then certainly that could get passed on through their selectmen liaisons. And I think that would make our scheduling a lot easier. We could let the committees know ahead of time what night they're going to be reporting. It also lets them be here during the budget presentation, because a lot of them do have an interest in the budget. They have a line item in the budget, so it helps keep them on track with where they are, and gives everybody the availability of being better informed. So I don't know what other thoughts, if anybody's thinks that that's a good thing to try, if there's other thoughts or ideas out there. I was just kind of my thoughts on it.
It goes back to we stopped doing the council meetings because there was very little attendance, right? So that's when we kind of shook the trees and said, okay, let's do committee members every week, right? And do it on a rotational basis. And that's worked reasonably well for the last 4 or 5 years, right? So this, I guess what you're proposing was we go back to a quarterly
Report.
council meeting, basically, right?
Yep, and instead of doing on a regular Tuesday meeting, do it on one of our off Tuesday nights, meet quarterly on an off Tuesday, let Gary do the budget presentation, and those committees that want to report to us they'll have the date ahead of time. And I mean, because we do have a lot of cancellations. I mean, how often we're looking at the agenda and we've got the committee that's calling and they're canceling, or they can't do this week and they do another week, and then we end up where we've got 5 or 6 committees coming in on one night because everybody's kind of back jammed. So
there's 2 things. We want to hear what's going on, and I think the department heads and the committee members want to tell us what's going on. And if they feel it's it's our time again and there's nothing really to report, then it's kind of seen as a waste of time, probably on both ends. I'm wondering if, and I'm not sure how to fix that, but ideally there's some committees and there's some departments that are very busy at various times that we want to hear a lot from them. When the library committee was in the process of coming up with a plan for the new library, we heard from those folks almost every week because it was very busy. The road review sometimes gets very, very busy. And other times, in the winter time, not much going on. So it's just to have them show up because it's their time doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm not sure how to fix it, but I like, and maybe Gary needs to think about it and talk a little bit with his department heads and say, what's the best way? How would you like to report to the board and have it meaningful to you and to us?
I think if we do this way in a workshop mode with no other meeting, and we get through that process, even just one time, and we see that department heads really don't need to do this that often, that's fine. But I think we should try this in a workshop mode.
Mm-hmm.
Do it, I would say, probably January 7th would be the next off meeting. Be the first Tuesday in January, just after the.
And the quarterly, you're gonna have the quarterly
You're gonna have
numbers
the quarterly
squared
over
away.
there.
You can have that ready to hit the
Okay.
buttons, before the quarter ends. So.
Fine with me.
I was going to recommend later anyway, but so it's come up now, is that that we do a monthly meeting. Now that we are having 2 meetings a month, that would not that might be this every other month, once every 2 or 3 months, but also some more proactive time. More planning, like our goal setting that we were doing, that we felt really good about, and said we ought to do this more often.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see that we plan one Tuesday in on a month. So we may have our 2 meetings, one proactive meeting, which could be the report out every 3 months or something like that, and then we have one off.
And I think that's kind of what we had said, was we wanted, the whole thing about going to that 2-week schedule, so that we had more time to do that
Yeah.
kind of sitting and brainstorming and whatnot, so. Gordon? You have
I'm
any
in
comments,
total
or-
agreement with John, because I think that the public, even though in terms of business, there may not, under the new format, be a lot going on, but I think it's important to the citizens of the community to see us meeting, so that there is consistency, that you know, that they know that town government is operating, and that we just haven't taken a holiday, and you know, so I'm in total agreement with John. If we can use one of these in planning stage for any of the committees, or something that we may want to hang our hat on in terms of planning, you know, or whatever may be the hot button topic of that particular month that happens to surface that, you know, needs attention. You know, we can use that as the opportunity to explore that and go from there.
Okay. So, do you think for us start doing like the quarterly committee report out with, in conjunction with the budget report, would work as far as committees, and then add in as needed? Is that what you're both kind of, or are you thinking
I
quarterly?
guess so.
not enough?
That may be something that we discuss. We come in with some ideas and say, okay, next month or the month after, would like to do this. And you know, the budget's going to be coming up too, and that'll be that could be a whole Tuesday night too, going through the budget.
Several.
Yeah.
I need your help, I need your history. I've got a lot of questions that I'm gonna be asking you, so. Yep.
Bring your Ouija board.
David, comments?
I think it's important that they do report. I think it gives them also some accountability. In other words, they're not just going through the motions they're having a committee. I mean, they're expected to do something, and we should know about it. Town should know about it. I'm willing to try that quarterly, you know, see how it works.
Dennis?
I agree.
So we'll give January 7th would be an off night. We'll give it a go.
Good.
January 7th.
Okay.
So make sure you've got on your calendar to be here on January 7th. Next on the agenda, discuss vote on further action regarding town properties and matured tax liens. So we had a workshop with Ken Cole about a month or so ago, and as a result of that, we kind of came up with some ideas. I think Dennis probably had the firmest idea out of that, as far as taking one particular parcel of property and using that kind of as our model property. Dennis, did you want to comment
Well,
on that?
I think we've got a number of, we know that agreements that were signed by this board and the taxpayer have not been up cap, or they have not fulfilled their agreement. So I would think the first thing that we should do is to inform all of those parties that are no longer in compliant with their agreement that the agreement is now null and void, and that the municipality will move forward with the disposition of those properties. The trial balloon that I think we need to put up is that those properties that are or have or continue to generate revenue, be it rentals, harvesting timber, or harvesting hay, or whatever the case may be, those properties are now the town of Waterboro's, and have been since the first matured tax lien. So I guess we need to, in a letter, inform them along with that they're now not in compliant, that any revenues derived from any activity on their properties should be, and I'm not sure legally how we address that, but, you know.
Good point.
But I know Ken was very adamant that we should go to the person that's harvesting, but I'm not sure how you do that. How do you intervene with somebody that's harvesting on property that's
I
got
think
multiple tax liens on it, right?
There's gotta be a legal way to do that.
I think you can file an injunction to have.
But I think
cease and
more importantly, there were only 12 of them, a couple of them were by the same people, they were different lots. So we're really talking about 7 or 8 that are not in compliance. I think we need to address those and say, that, you know, there is no deal anymore. You're not in compliance, and there will not be another arrangement. So therefore, your taxes are now due, right? And then I think somehow we know that there's at least one property that's generating some revenues. I think we need to address that, but I think we probably had to have some legal wording on
That may very well be the incentive for them to pay up, so that they can reap.
Oh, I think so.
They can reap the harvest.
Right. So I think at a minimum, we need to at least initiate that, and I guess I would, if you're looking for a motion, put that in a motion, that those payment agreements that are now in default receive a letter from the municipality stating that there is no longer a payment agreement, nor will there be any future payment agreements based on what we know today, and that the town will move forward with the disposition or disposal of the property. And I think there might only be a couple that there are residents in, so I think we might tip around that a little bit, but so I would move that we at least get those people that are in default letters that say you're in default and we're gonna go forward with disposition of the property.
Is there a second?
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
And the second issue would be is that the balance of those properties that are in default, I would move that we move forward in the best method possible to dispose of that property, whether that's engaging a realtor or running an auction or whatever. If there's a realtor that's interested, then I guess that's one revenue. But we need to, you know, we held the auction up till we could resolve all this. I think it's time to go. Let's put it in somebody's hands that's gonna dispose of the property.
Is there a second?
In a second.
For discussion.
Discussion?
How about if we have a meeting or a workshop and invite all our local real estate agents in town, tell them what we want to do, and see which one can provide us with either the best service or divide it up amongst those. I'm in favor of trying to keep it local as much as possible. But there's some services that they can't provide, but I can't think of any off the top of my head that they couldn't, because they're all members of M.R.S. and everything else, so I'm sure that they can get the word out. But that would be my suggestion on this.
What about having the town send out a letter to all the local realtors with a request for proposal?
Or have them come in and do a pre-proposal meeting with Gary. I mean, that's.
You come in, we divide them up for those that come in.
I mean, we've never done that. Gary, I think your comments back a few months ago was that certainly is a process that's used elsewhere. You know,
We can make a list of these here that are probably direct to butter sales only because of size, et cetera.
Yeah.
And
Which we kind of already do.
Right.
this kind of self-separates by the nature of the properties. And then open it up to, put out an RFP to see what percentages would be. Pick somebody.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Would that be along the lines of what you're thinking, Gordon?
Yeah, some mechanism that we can get the local real estate
Might not be
interested.
local. I mean, if you put it out the bid, it might not be a local person.
Well, yeah, I know you have to,
Hopefully
Now,
we'll-
they dictated, I mean, I've heard all kinds of percentages that real estate agents get on property, different types of property, they get different things. I mean, are they bound by some code or whatever that they have to get 10%?
I don't think so. They usually do 10% for all land.
Only the code of, I'm gonna make as much money as morally
Okay, that's
acceptable.
what, well, I'm just, you know, I'm not
I
in
must think
favor,
there's a state standard on the min, you know.
I'm not in favor of somebody making 17-20% on town
No, I
property.
think it's, I think it's 6%.
Raw land is sometimes 10. I don't know if I should say quite often or not, but I've seen it that high.
Well,
It's all right.
if we put something out, we can see
Sure.
who's gonna be most interested in the town's business. They're gonna
Yep.
put something before us that they want because they want our business.
They can say X percentage for this group of properties and a different percentage for others that have buildings.
So Dennis had made a motion that we move forward. We had it seconded. The discussion, all those in favor of the motion? Okay. All right, we have no old business other. We have the minutes of the November 12th regular meeting, but there were some corrections that were not in our packets. So do you want to forego approving these and have the updated version in next week, or do you want to just know what the changes? There were two minor changes under Town Administrator's Report. It was changed from the owner will open the gate during snowmobile season and the barrier has been removed to, and the stumps and boulders have been removed. And then also under Town Administrator's Report was staff are given a half-day holiday on Tuesday, 12/24, 12/31, and will take the other half-day off, adding using vacation time.
I will move that we accept it with those changes.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Pending decisions, discuss making policy changes relative to the use of social media.
I should have something ready, possibly for the meeting of the 17th. I should have it finalized, because that gives me time enough to meet with the town administrator and on those things.
Okay. And town charter change to establish public works department.
Talked again with the rec director and Doug, trying to merge the issues, the responsibilities, the workload, et cetera, with those two entities now, so that's continuing. I'm pleased with the way we got it pointed and the things that those two department heads are giving me, and so we'll just keep plugging forward.
Week's action list, we've assigned Jerry to go back and continue looking at the issue with the bad property. We need to make sure that the changed December meeting schedule gets posted. And we need to make sure that WAB knows so they can make their presentation on the holiday lights. We have our employee holiday dinner on the 13th, so we need to make sure that a notice goes out to the staff and committee members about that, and John's going to take care of organizing that.
Organizing the food aspect.
Yep. Oh no, you're doing the whole thing,
With the
John.
famous meatballs and.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go and pick up poinsettias and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
the small stuff, I don't do small stuff.
Yeah, you take care of the food and we'll take care
I
of the
make
rest.
meatballs, man.
Yeah,
That's as far as I
make
go.
meatballs, man. Discussion of agenda items for the next meeting. I'm sure stuff will come up. It seems like we've got some things that are kind of sitting on the back burner, I think.
I'd like a follow-up on that timber.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to put it on the agenda, but something relative to probably sooner than later on what's Ron's position on getting us a final audit report.
Okay, items needing signature, the minutes of the November 12th meeting, and as well as the abatements and the supplemental tax warrant.
Chairman Director, there's also the state licenses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forgot to list them there, sorry.
Okay, so we get the licenses as well. We have a number of reminders. Town Hall's going to be closed for the Thanksgiving holiday on the 28th and the 29th. Monday, December 2nd, 5 p.m. is the Community Garden at the Old Town Hall. At 5:15 p.m. is going to be the 2020 Master Planning Committee at Central Station. Wednesday, December 4th is the Planning Board meeting at the Town Hall. Thursday, December 5th at 5 p.m. is a Conservation Commission at the Old Town Hall. And at 7 p.m., the Library Board of Trustees at the library. And then Tuesday, December 10th at 6 p.m. will be the Selectmen's meeting. And to all the residents in town, on behalf of the board and staff of Waterboro, I'd like to wish everybody a very happy, safe, loving Thanksgiving. And with that, we'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So, second.
All those in favor? Good night.